Okay, hello again. Welcome to this third and last part of today's lesson. And let's see if we can answer the question I left behind. And to search the origins seems to be an intuition that anyone can see when you watch a little kid when he starts making questions to his grandfathers or his own parents. Moreover, when these grandfathers are non-existent, when he has never seen them, curiosity increases, and it seems to be that he wants to know more when someone is missing in the family. And I imagine that many of you have some have seen some children when they try to make these investigations, the research, asking for his own origins, and even you may remember yourself making this question to your parents or to your grandparents. What does my family name come from, daddy or mommy? Or asking to your grandfather, for example, who was your father? Who was your grandfather, dear grandpa, for example? This is very typical, very common. Everybody knows or has ever seen this situation in his own family, or because he has seen a little kid making these questions. But the search for the origin seems to be an attempt to understand the past, an attempt to understand where we came from and who we are and what kind of people are we. The different scientific activities have tried to give an answer to this, but in a rational way. In the past, many of the theogonies I have mentioned and other myths were the accepted knowledge. But you have noticed that some of the words that I have used were written in ancient Greek. So the knowledge needed to be transmitted. The same thing that today, knowledge needs to be transmitted. So the transmission task imply many times to get to know the language of this knowledge, or the language of the country that produces its knowledge. And this knowledge in the past, as we said, were the myths. And these myths were later the proto-science. In our Western culture, the Greek was first. Then it was the Latin, and not so long ago, to get a career degree implied to fulfill certain Latin requirements to get your title degree. So to get to know another language implies to understand the structure of thought over which a language is built. We as future teachers have the moral obligation to think over these languages. A language, anyone that we may choose, is one of the forms of the universal language, and thinking takes forms in this universal language. So all through our course, throughout the year, there will be a great deal of language thinking and reflection. And now, let me share the screen first. Just a second. There you are. All right. Sharing the screen. The exercise now is to put yourself in your students' shoes. You're teaching a language different from theirs. So now you're going to have this experience yourselves. So you can see on the left-hand side, mythos written in its original Greek, and on the right-hand side, mythos in modern English. Okay, mythos we discussed already was the narration or the stories that try to give an explanation or a justification of the nature of the things, of the questions of the world and the universe, how the universe works. Next one, physis on the left-hand side again in its original Greek. On the right-hand side, physis in modern English. Physis means, in a broad sense, nature. But from physis come words such as physics, physician, physiology, and many other words. Theogony in its original on the left-hand side, and theogony on the right-hand side, modern English. The origin of the gods, the justification of nature also, because the gods were the live personification of the things of the nature, the physics. Cosmogony in its original Greek, left-hand side, and cosmogony in modern English. Cosmogony is the vision of the world and the vision of the universe from the particular point of view of a culture or a people. Genealogy on the left-hand side again in its original Greek, and genealogy in modern English. Okay, I'll stop sharing. Yeah, here we are. Now, we can call it a day for today. Your next task will be to create a cooperative glossary through a wiki link you will find in your classroom after this. And the idea is that you supply your own ideas of different words and you give examples. So far so good. We can call it day. See you next time. All the best.